Hello, everybody. As we're waiting for a few more people to enter, would you please sign in the chat so we have a record of who is here? Thank you. Going to wait one more minute and we're going to get started. Okay, to honor your time and make sure that we leave lots of time for any questions or clarifications you need, we're going to go ahead and get started. You all know me, I'm Noreen, and I am a consultant on behalf of the UPK team. And Drew is here, and Carla is here, and Heather will be here. She's having a hard time signing on, but we're all here to support you. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so our topics today are going to be a lot of updates from CDEC, but I want to use these as a jumping off point basically to answer any questions you may have. So we're going to move on and start with timelines at this point. Sarah, would you sign in, please, to the chat so we have a record of who's here? Okay, we're going to go with program updates first. Go ahead, Drew. All right, so timeline for matching and enrollment. So the first part of this pre-registration is done. I think the thing that you most need to know coming up for what is coming after that is that when the algorithm runs on the 22nd of April, that there will be no consideration of continuity of care in the matching. For those of you who are returning providers, you know last year there was no pre-registration period, but there were 10 points assigned to families who had continuity of care, and that was taken into consideration in the algorithm. This year, that will not happen, and the state's thinking around that was that there was a month to do pre-registration, and then we had almost 2 weeks to fix issues. And so at this point, anybody who didn't get in during that time with continuity of care that'll have to be an issue that we're going to have to deal with specifically with the provider and the family to see what we can do about that, but it will not be an issue or a factor, let's put it that way, in the matching algorithm. So as you know, February 29th was the first day that all families could register for universal preschool. April 22nd is the first matching round runs. That is Monday. On the matches that happen for U.S. providers, proposed matches will go to you on April 23rd, which is Tuesday, and you'll have between the 23rd and May 7 to review and accept those matches for the first round of matching. You're not actually accepting the matches. All you can do is decline the matches, and I should actually change this slide before we post it to make sure that it says that. But you do not have the opportunity to accept a match. You have the opportunity to decline a match. And the only reason that you can decline a match is if you have one of the reasons that you put on your setup form that the state allows for. Other than that, you are not permitted to decline a family. During that time, we would want you to reach out to the families. They cannot see that they have a proposed match with you. So we'd like you to reach out to them and see if you can set up a tour or a conversation or whatever it is that you would need to make sure that the match is going to be a good fit for them. And then on May 8th, the families who have not been declined, they will be notified of their first round matches. And they can either accept or decline, and they must do one or the other if they want to. They must accept if they want to accept that match. If they do nothing, it will go back into selected status, and they will be run through the algorithm again for another match. So on July 5th, the second family to provider matching round will run. And providers again must accept or decline their matches by July 22nd for that first one. I'm sorry, for the second algorithm. And then on July 23rd, families will be notified of their second round matches, and families must accept or decline on the 31st. Drew, remind me that I need to change both of these slides because there are some things on here that are incorrect before we post them. Actually, before we even use them for this evening, please just remind me. So after the 31st, we will go to what's called direct enrollment. And that means basically that whatever seats you have left, or if you want to open up more seats, you can do that. And then we will be able to work with you to place a family directly into a seat with you if they did not get matched at another time and you still have seats open. So direct enrollment will happen from there on in. If you are working with any families that have IEPs and they have not put that into their application, but they expect services, that is going to be an issue. So you are not permitted to provide services if there is an IEP in the application. However, if the family has an IEP and they need a full day program or something other than the school district, they can send an email, and we will ask the state to take the IEP out of their application. And at that point, they will be able to make whatever choices they want to make. But you as a provider will really need to figure out whether or not you can meet that child's needs before they are placed with you. That doesn't mean providing sped services. It does mean accommodating the individual needs of that child, just like you would with any other child that is enrolled with you. I'm going to do one more slide, and then I'm going to stop and answer any questions you have on this particular piece. Next. So for seat adjustments, as we just started to talk about, we're in the end of the seat adjustment period before the first matching run. If you want to increase or decrease your seats, I must have an email by noon tomorrow. After that, your seats cannot be changed before the DAA runs. And if you have too many seats in there or too few seats in there, the too many seats is going to be an issue if we don't get that addressed. So please make sure that you pay attention and get me that email no later than noon tomorrow. There'll be another adjustment period after the first DAA has run, and that'll be May 16th to May 24th. And then, of course, August 1 on, you can adjust seats. I do want you to know, however, that our person up at the state is fine with adjusting seats whenever you send them to me. I just want you to know that the noon deadline tomorrow is seat adjustments prior to the first DAA running. And then to adjust the seats, you find your LCO, which is us, and you just go ahead and reach out to me at nglt@mac.com, and I will submit it to the state to be adjusted. So I'm going to stop now and see if you have any questions on those timelines or anything that means for you. You can unmute and ask the question, or you can raise your hand, whatever you're putting in the chat, whatever you'd like to do. Liz.
Will we be able to see, I'm trying to formulate my question as I ask it, in the adjusting seat timeline, are we able to see if we have a significant amount of families who are requesting to match with us and then we can adjust our seats accordingly? Are we able to see that information?
Nope.
Okay, so we're just adjusting seats based upon what we think we might need or that families might want.
Yep. However, you can reach out and I will do the best I can to tell you the number of kids that you are sitting somewhere on their list.
Okay.
Frankly, I don't have the time. I can tell you how many are in first place that haven't been selected, like you're in first place, but I don't really have the time to go further down than that. And I'm not allowed to send you the names of those kids. So it would be a lot of adjustment with a spreadsheet. And so I can give you basic information that might help you make those decisions, but no more than that.
Great, thank you, that's helpful.
Yep. What else? Other questions? Remember, it's always easier to go up than down. So now is the best time to go down. If you need to go down because you're seeing that you have 3-year-olds that you want to put in seats and you're concerned that your 4-year-old seats that are being held out won't be filled, we can certainly take them down by noon tomorrow, and then we can take them back up again when we see where your enrollment is in another month and a half. So think about that if you need to do that. Okay. You cannot decline kiddos that have been matched with you because you did not take your seat numbers down. So if you need to, take the seat numbers down now. Any other questions on that piece anyway? All right, let's move on. You guys, so I don't know if there are any of you who have not yet received your provider agreement. Here's what we have been told around that is that they were taking them as they came in, and that they had to review them all, and any of the ones that they reviewed where everything was there that was supposed to be there, then the DocuSign is in the process if it has not already been sent out to you. If you have not submitted all of the pieces, including an attestation which says that you agree to abide by the terms of the provider agreement, then they're trying to get something back out to you to tell you that they're missing certain pieces. But I think it's probably at this point best, if you have not received your provider agreement, if you reach out to the procurement department. Put the next one up there, Drew, for me, please. To the cdec_procurement-contracts@state.colorado.us and ask them if your file is complete. And so give them the opportunity to then come back and say, no, it's not, you need this. So we need to get this. No payments will happen until your provider agreement is signed. I do know that. So we really need to get everything done by July and make sure that you have a provider agreement in there. So if you have any issues with that, we can't help you with that. We have no access to who is having issues with documents being complete or anything of that sort. You have to reach out at this email address. So there's also these weekly office hours for provider agreement assistance. It's every Friday from 3 to 4. And they have actually been looking up applications in real time on that agreement for folks who have not actually had their gotten their DocuSign yet. So that's another way that you can get on there and you can say, what's my status? And they're actually looking it up for you. So here's the information. And I want you to know that these slides will be posted on the UPK page as early as tomorrow. Any questions on that? Okay, let's move on. All right, we're going to go back over this again. This really is actually a little bit more applicable to our family child care teachers than it is most of our centers. But we still do have centers out there, particularly new ones, who really have need to beef up their profile. This is how families decide whether or not they're going to put you on the list. And they need all of the information that they can possibly get to be able to make a decision on that, so that hopefully the first time around, they've made the best decisions, as opposed to finding out that they've been matched with somebody and that's really not going to work. So make sure that you put this up there. Again, reminder that you are expected to post your tuition, and you need to post it for families who only have 15 hours and families who have 30 hours, if that applies to you. And make sure you put it under the financial section. There's actually an open place in there that you can put that in. All of your provider profiles, except for your programs, should be unlocked. But if you are finding out that you cannot make changes on that, then please reach out to me and I'll send it up to Jenny and say, what's going on here? Please make sure this provider profile is unlocked. All right, please put some time and effort into this, because this is, as I said, really what matters when new families that are not returning to you are trying to decide who it is that they would like to put on their list, particularly if you are concerned that you may be a provider in an area where families where you may not fill up with UPK. The more you put on there, the better those chances are. Any questions on that? Okay, let's move on. All right, want to make sure you're aware of the grant opportunities. These are also up on the UPK page. They are there. Metrics IQ is who would have reached out to you if you are eligible for these, or where you would get more information. Again, the contact and all of that information is up on our UPK page, but I just wanted to remind you that these are opportunities for you that you may qualify for. This is one of the benefits of being a UPK provider, is the fact that there are certain grant opportunities and bonus opportunities that come your way that do not come the way of other providers. Next. Want to remind you again, broken record here, the UP page is available to you. We are about to do a little bit of reorganization of that, so that the things that you most need to know will hit you in the face as soon as you sign on to this page. So you won't actually have to do some surfing to try to find what you're looking for. You may still have to surf a little bit, but we hope it'll make a little bit more sense for you. But we do keep it up to date. I also wanted to let you know that there are links to CDEC communications there. CDEC is now on a new platform. So if you have found that all of a sudden you are not getting CDEC newsletters, etc., you're going to need to go back in and re-sign up. So I was told that they will not transfer from one to the other. I don't know whether that's true or not, but if you want to make absolutely sure that you're getting the CDEC communications, e-newses, etc., then go back into the new platform and sign up. Next. And of course, these are state resources. You know that there's a provider handbook. You know that there's a family handbook. There's also the CDEC website for provider information, and of course the newsletter that we just talked about. The provider handbook and the family handbook, the links that are on the UPK page, the JI UPK page, are to the latest version of the handbook. So if you're ever concerned that you're you need to keep up one way or another, we have not seen a new version of either the provider or family handbook in about 2 weeks, but it is linking to the newest version, and it is usually FAQs in the back that are updated. Next. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of talking about quality standards, but not a lot, and here's why. There isn't, these all slides came from CDEC that we were supposed to use for you, but we also have an LCO quality standards webinar that is coming up late next week that Early Milestones is doing, in which the questions that we have can be addressed and answered, which is probably a lot of the questions that you have. So there's a fair number of slides here that we're actually not going to go through today, because I am going to set up a quality standard town hall, if you will, for our providers. It will be, at this point, I believe it will be virtual, but if it's not, it will certainly be hybrid. There will be a virtual opportunity to participate, and there will be a recording. I don't want to do that until we can get some of the questions answered. But what I do want to know is, I want to take the opportunity to quickly go through these slides and show you what's here, which will be posted. And then I would like for you to stop. Then I would like for you to send me any questions that you have that you want us to try and get answered at that webinar, on so that because we can submit those questions ahead of time. And I just want to make sure that you have the chance to ask whatever questions you would like around that. The new quality, or the quality standards that have been adopted are linked at the bottom of our UPK page. You do have to go all the way to the bottom there to get the clean copy of that, if you would like to see that. So what they have put up here is, back up one for me, Drew, please. So they're basically showed you the process and the timeline. You know that January to March is done. And so now they're setting up or figuring out how to set up the resource bank, the key components of the resource bank, and then there are quality standards that are going to go into place for 24-25. Most of those are not changes from the current year. The more the bigger changes are happening as of 25-26, but those are coming. So next. So there's summaries here of the kinds of things that are in the quality standards that you can take a look at. Next. Again, ratios and group size, maintaining ratios, etc. Next. Provider matching criteria. Most of this has already been addressed, and you're used to it if you're an ongoing provider. And so nothing here should surprise you. Next. And then so now we're starting to get into some of the other things that are going to be bigger changes, such as on-site observations and utilizing early learning and assessment approaches that are included in the resource bank, which has not yet been set up. Go ahead. Again, these are 25, again, creating and making publicly available policies and procedures for fulfilling developmental screening requirements and notifying families of the opportunity to participate in an annual survey. Next. And then community engagement pieces that are also part of the standards, and again, participating in a family engagement survey. And then professional development. So there are certain things there that over time will change, but there are no changes in the teacher and staff requirements for the coming year. They are still, you have to meet licensing requirements. So whatever is expected of licensing is what a UPK provider for 24 would be expected to do. Next. And then there's a whole summary in here of fun courses and things of that sort, and the number that you have to have and all the rest of that. This is for July of 2025 for new teachers. But again, all of this is available here. And if you have any questions about any of this, this has all already been adopted. So unless it's changed again, this is what's going to go into effect. And if you have any questions about that, please submit them to me via email, and I will be more than happy to bring them to the group on next week. Go ahead. Same thing here. Okay, the resource bank is going to be a major piece of the implementation of the quality standards. There are going to be 3 areas of resources: the instructional practice, the healthy development, and the family and community engagement. And you can read here the types of resources that will be in there, basic information, and then links to experts and partners, and then tools and templates that will be in there. Next. And then these are some of the examples of what could or would be in the resource bank content, best practices, etc. So you can read these here to see the kinds of things that would be in here. I think the most important part of this is the next slide. And that is where you can provide input into the resource bank. So you can use this link here, you can use the QR code. And what they're asking for right now is, do you have current written policies or processes on screening, referral, and or engaging families? So if any of you have any of those and you would like them to be considered as part of the resource bank or to help develop it, this is where you can submit it. And I think you can also submit any comments that you may have at the same place. All right, let's stop sharing. So I know at least a couple of you are new providers. Some of you are old hats at all of this. So I think whether or not you're a new provider or an old hat, what questions do you have? What do you want us to know to elevate to the state if there's anything that you are concerned about? How can we help you?
When will that resource bank be alive?
When will it be stood up?
Yeah.
They haven't given us a date yet, but I'm expecting that they're developing it. As you can see from the timelines, they're developing it this summer. So my hope was that they would launch it probably in August with at least some materials, and then we'll continue to develop it from there. That's just my guess. However, I do not have any firsthand knowledge on that. Other questions? Were we really clear, or are you just overwhelmed, or you can fill in the blank?
Back into this. I just came back to work about a week ago, so I'm just trying to play catch up. Is there anything that I've missed along the way that's super important or timely?
You should go to the JIUPK page and look at what is up there, because that is the latest information in all areas.
Got it.
And then Penny, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me.
Okay.
Anything else? All right, well then let's talk a little bit about what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do right now, just so that you know where we are. So right now, we are working with families who need to get things adjusted prior to the DAA. Families have received, we believe most families have received one of 2 emails. One would say you are actually eligible for 30 hours. And if you want to take advantage of that and you do not have any 30-hour programs, full day or extended day programs in your application, then reach out to the LCO and let them help you figure out what programs might be available to you to take advantage of your 30 hours. Heather, Carla, and I have been spending most of our time doing that in the last couple of days. Either yesterday or today, there was an email went out to families who had full day options in their application, but were only eligible for 15 hours, making sure that they are aware that if they choose a full day provider, that they are going to be responsible for anything above 15 hours in terms of tuition. And so we have had some families who have reached out and said, I thought I was going to qualify for 30. I can't afford more than 15. Can you help me find half-day programs? And so we're working on some of those, but it has more been the other way around in terms of going from 15 to 30. I think I told you already that the DAA will not recognize continuity of care. So if you need to save some seats for kids that whose families just weren't able to get things done prior to the time that we needed to, then let's go ahead and reduce your seats so that you can save seats for those particular families, and then we can increase them as of August 1st and get them placed. We may be able to do it earlier than that, but right now, all I'm promising is August the 1st when direct placement starts. We are allowed to help families accept their applications if they cannot get in and do that. And we are not allowed to touch any application that has an IEP in it at all. And so if you're sending anything to us that, I mean, it's unlikely that you would be dealing with a family who has an IEP. But if for whatever reason you get a question from a family and they say, oh, I wasn't able to do this, and I accidentally put that I have an IEP in there, we have to submit that to the state so that they can take the IEP out, and then the family can make the choices that they need to. We're not allowed to delete any eligibility factors, and we're also not allowed to add any eligibility factors. We can add continuity of care, but it's not going to be taken, but it's not going to be a factor in the DAA anyway. Do we need to take any steps in the system for next year for the families that are in accepted status? Eventually, you're going to need to enroll them, and you're going to need to do that before whatever date is coming up for payment for August. So it will probably be mid-July that you're going to need to enroll them. I will tell you that if you go through and enroll families now and something needs to change, we're going to have to go in, and you can't unenroll that family because of the date sequence that doesn't work. So you're going to have to reach out to us, and we're going to have to withdraw that match and then work with you from there to get them where they need to go. So if you can hang to until early July to enroll your families, that would be better, but it's certainly not a requirement. It just means that we have to go in and withdraw it if there's a change that needs to be made. Penny, did that answer your question? Penny?
Yes, that answered it. Thank you.
Okay. I have a dog named Penny, so I'm used to saying Penny, Penny. What else? What other questions? Sarah, you good?
I just sent a question about classroom ratios. I've heard for UPK that they are changing them to 10 instead of 12. Is that correct?
They have decided not to do that, at least for the coming year, but there is likely going to be some changes, I think, in licensing. Liz may be able to help me with this because I think she keeps up with that better than I do. But there may be some changes in licensing around your rating and your teacher qualifications relative to how many kids you can have, but not for the coming year, not for UPK for the coming year.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. What else? Thanks, Liz. All right, if there are no other questions, then please feel free to reach out with any seat changes that you need to make, and please do it by noon tomorrow. And you may send families to us to adjust their applications through noon on Saturday. I would prefer it's actually 5 o'clock tomorrow. But I will be checking email through noon on Saturday because Saturday afternoon is the last time that family adjustments can be made. I'm certainly happy to unlock applications and let families try to do it themselves, but many have not been able to do it. So, yeah, there you go. And then keep an eye out if you're interested in more information about the quality standards. Keep an eye out for a gathering in early May that will be specifically around the quality standards, and then we'll see what is needed for roundtables in the third week of May, depending upon what's coming out and how things are going. I appreciate all of you being a part of the UPK family. Our families appreciate it, and let us know if there's any way we can be of any help to you. Okay? So thank you. Heather, you want to stay on so we can chat about your situation? All right. And Drew, you made me a co-host, so I'm good. Okay. Thank you.